Cindy from the Crown Point Community Library, and today I'm going to be bringing the library into your home with a middle grade book bite. If you've joined me before, you know that middle grade book bites are snippets of books that are available in our juvenile fiction collection that are available to be checked out from the Crown Point Library. The book that I would like to share with you today is a book called Hello Universe. It is by Erin and Entrada Kelly, and it is an AR book. It is book level 4.7, and it is worth 6 points. This book is available in book format. It's available to download as an ebook, and we also have an audio copy if you like to listen to books. So you have lots of different options. This is the story of three kids, Virgil, who's shy and misunderstood, Valencia, who's clever and stubborn, and Kaori, who tells fortunes and reads the stars. There is also a bully whose name is Chet, and he's responsible for kind of bringing all three of these kids together. At the beginning of the book, they kind of know each other somewhat, but they're not good friends. Through the obstacles that they face throughout the story, they do get to know each other better. So I would like to begin by reading a little bit from each of the characters to give you a little bit of understanding of who they are, because they're very different. So I'm going to begin in chapter 1, which is Virgil's story. And the book is written so that each chapter is the point of view of a different character in the story. So this is the introduction to Virgil. Chapter 1, Grand Failure. 11-year-old Virgil Salinas already regretted the rest of middle school, and he'd only just finished 6th grade. He imagined all those years stretching ahead of him like a long line of hurdles, each of them getting taller, thicker, and heavier, and him standing in front of them on his weak and skinny legs. He was no good at hurdles. He'd found that out the hard way in gym class, where he was the smallest, most forgettable, and always picked last. All things considered, he should have been happy on that last day of school. The year was finally over. He should have been skipping home, ready to tackle the bright summer ahead. Instead, he walked through the front door like a defeated athlete, head low, shoulders hunched, a sack of disappointment sitting on his chest like an anvil, because today it was official. He was a grand failure. "Oi, Virgilo," his grandmother, his Lola, said. "What's wrong? Why you have that look?" "What look?" Virgil said. "You know." Lola didn't like to explain herself. "Is that pug-faced boy at school being mean to you again?" "No, Lola. For once, that was the least of his worries. Everything's fine." Said Lola. She knew everything wasn't fine. She noticed everything about him. They had a secret kinship. It'd been that way ever since the first day she'd come from the Philippines to live with them. On the morning she arrived, Virgil's parents and identical twin brothers immediately rushed her in a flood of hugs and hellos, with the exception of Virgil. That's how the Salinas family was. Big personalities that bubbled over like pots of soup. Virgil felt like unbuttered toast standing next to them. "Ay, Sus, my first moments in America will be filled with pulsing headache," Lola had said. She pressed her fingertips to her temples and waved towards Virgil's older brothers, who were tall and lean and muscled, even then. "Joselito, Julius, fetch my bags, huh? I want to say hello to my youngest grandson." After Joselita and Julius scurried off, the ever-helpful brothers, Virgil's parents presented him like a rare exhibit they didn't quite understand. "This is Turtle," his mother said. That was their name for him, Turtle, because he wouldn't come out of his shell. Every time they said it, a piece of him broke. Lola had squatted in front of him and whispered, "You are my favorite, Virgilo." And then she put her fingers to her lips and said, "But don't tell your brothers." That was 6 years ago, and he knew he was still her favorite, even though she'd never said so again. He could trust Lola, and maybe one day he would confess his secret to her. The one that made him a grand failure, but not today, not now. So that's it. That is Virgil, or Virgilo, as his Lola likes to call him. The next chapter is Valencia. I'm not sure what God looks like. I don't know if there's one big God in heaven, or if there's 2 or 3 or 30, or maybe one for each person. I'm not sure if God is a boy or a girl or an old man with a white beard, but it doesn't matter. I just feel safe knowing someone's listening. I mostly talk to Saint Rene. His real name is Renatus Goupil. He was a French missionary who traveled to Canada, and while he was there, he made the sign of the cross over a kid's head, and they thought he was spreading curses, so they took him as a prisoner and killed him. I found out about him because on my 10th birthday, this girl, Roberta, gave me a book called Famous Deaf People in History. I would never have given Roberta a book about famous blonde people or famous people who talk too much or famous people who try to cheat off my spelling paper, all of which described Roberta. But the good thing was that I found out about Saint Rene. I don't know sign language, but I taught myself the alphabet, so I made up a sign for Saint Rene. I crossed my middle finger over my index finger, the sign for R, and then tap it 3 times lightly against my lips. That's one of the first things I do after I take off my hearing aids for the night. Then I stare up at the ceiling and imagine my prayers traveling up, 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 hovering over my bed until they lift all the way through the roof. And then I imagine them landing on a cloud and sitting there waiting to be answered. When I was younger, I thought the cloud would get so heavy that all my prayers would come falling down and I'd have everything I'd wished for. But now I'm 11, so I know better. I still picture them sailing up, though. There's no harm in that. I only pray at night because it's my least favorite time of the day. Everything is still and dark, and I have too much time to think. One thought leads to another until it's 2 in the morning and I haven't slept a wink. Or I've slept, but not well. I didn't always hate the nighttime. I used to crawl into bed and drift off to sleep, no problem. It's not because of the dark. That's never bothered me. One time my parents took me to this place called Crystal Caverns where you went underground and you couldn't even see your hand in front of your face. And I wasn't scared at all. I loved it down there. I felt like an explorer. And afterward, my dad bought me a souvenir snow globe. Only there are bats inside instead of snow. I keep it right next to me on my nightstand and I shake it before I go to sleep. Just because. So it's not the dark that keeps me awake. It's the nightmare. Kaori. 12-year-old Kaori Tanaka, a proud Gemini, liked to tell people her parents were born in the high, misty mountains of a samurai village. In truth, they were both second-generation Japanese Americans from Ohio. No matter, Kaori knew in her bones that they were meant to be born in the mountains. Sometimes people were just delivered to the wrong birthplace. How else could she explain her powers of second sight, which could only come from someplace magical? Kaori was mildly surprised to get a text from one of her clients, her only client, truth be told, on the first day of summer, particularly at 7:45 in the morning. But the night before, just as she was gliding to sleep, she'd had a vision of a hawk perched on a giant fence post. Only now she realized it must have been a vulture, not a hawk. And vulture started with the letter V, just like Virgils' name. The connection could not have been any clearer. She was already awake. She believed in waking up with the dawn whenever possible, when she heard the bells of a Buddhist monastery chime from her phone. A text message alert. She snatched it immediately and read Virgil's message. This must be a matter of some urgency, she said from her bed. She liked to talk aloud when she was alone, just in case the spirits were listening. After replying to the text, Kaori lit a stick of incense, walked across her zodiac circle rug, and stepped into the hallway. She knocked gently on her younger sister's bedroom door. No one was awake yet, least of all her seven-year-old sister, Jen. Jen was a Cancer, and morning wasn't her best time of day. Cancers are notorious night owls. Knocking is fruitless, Kaori said. She opened the door and was once again assaulted and mildly offended by her sister's hot pink dresser, hot pink curtains, hot pink rug, and hot pink comforter. It was truly a room of a second grader, complete with teddy bears scattered all over the floor and plastic teacups and teapots toppled here and there. Jen was monstrously untidy. She also had a tendency to run through hobbies. Jen was determined to become the champion of something one day. It used to be hopscotch, then monkey bars, then checkers. There was a discarded recorder on the floor that she had once planned to master, and a chapter book on Abraham Lincoln from the time she had decided to become an amateur historian. A pink jump rope lay coiled like a snake near the foot of the narrow twin bed, evidence of her latest obsession. One day she'll mature, Kaori said to the spirits. She walked up to her sister and kicked the jump rope out of the way with a sigh of irritation. Jen had been jump roping around the house for a week straight, driving everyone mad. She'd already broken 3 water glasses. Jen, Kaori said, poking her sister's shoulder, wake up. We have a client coming today and we need to prepare. Jen's eyelids fluttered but didn't open. Jen! Kaori poked a little harder. Her sister was wearing bunny print pajamas. Really. Get up! Jen grumbled and pulled the comforter over her head. Kaori smoothed the front of her own pajamas, coal black with red trim, and said, Okay, then I'll just prepare the spirit stones alone. Jen tossed off the covers, eyes wide, dark hair stuck up in every direction. You're using the spirit stones? I have reason to suspect I'll need them. Just a sense, but if you're too busy sleeping. I'm getting up, and she did. Meet me in the spirit chamber, Kaori said, and she waved toward Jen's pajamas, but get rid of those bunnies first. So Kaori, Valencia, and Virgil all become intertwined in this story, and it's just a story of friendship. It's a story of trying to overcome obstacles, especially those that involve bullies, and just people who don't understand you or are mean to you, and the story of how 3 unlikely people can become friends in different situations. Check out the book, read it, and stop by the library and let me know what you thought. Check out the library website for more resources, crownpointlibrary.org, for more book bites, and other videos are available on our YouTube channel. Take care. Have a great day.